It's not supposed to be able to be used against you, but it absolutely is used against you.
You had technically cleaned yourself up, gotten a job. I mean, you know, you did everything right. When it comes to the trial, did you have a court-appointed lawyer?
I did. I had what they called a DEA. I called him a DEA lawyer. When I told you I went into Fort Worth, and right before I got out, what you do is it's called a proffer. And so a proffer is where you go in and you basically admit to, you know, what you did or whatever. It's not supposed to be able to be used against you, but it absolutely is used against you. And so I had a lawyer that was right there, Johnny, on the spot. The DEA, the DEA was like, oh, hey, here's your lawyer, basically. That lawyer didn't do anything for me. He didn't fight for me. He didn't tell me anything. I mean, I had what they called a DEA lawyer, absolutely.
When you're going through your trial, did you feel like this thing is done? I mean, did you feel like he put up at least a good fight to where you're like, I don't know, I might get off? Or
no, so it's different. So for the fact if you take it to trial, he told me that if I took it to trial, because I had no evidence against me. The only evidence I had against me was what two people said, and then me saying yes, that I did this, me admitting my guilt. They had no phone calls. They had no videos. They found no drugs in my apartment. They went and searched my apartment. They found no evidence of anything. They didn't have any undercover footage. They didn't have any other evidence on me. Never caught me with a drop of dope. And so whenever I went in, basically what you do is you go up, you say what you have to say to the judge. Your family can speak on your behalf, and then the judge decides. He goes back and he deliberates what your time's going to be, because they have what they call the guidelines. Since I had such a high criminal history, it doesn't matter that I had never been to the feds before, right? So since I'd been to, state prison before, I was so high on the guidelines that when my guidelines came back, it came back 20 to 40 years is what my guidelines came back. So that was the minimum that he could have given me, was 20 years, because that's how they go by, as the guidelines.
Jeez. That's the minimum.
That's the minimum, yeah. So when I was telling my story, and then the prosecutor gets up and he's like, Judge, let me remind you that, this woman sold kilos of dope to families and blah, blah, blah. And the judge was like, well, thank you for bringing me back to reality, because basically he was like really feeling this testimony. All my kids were there. I had a 3-month-old baby that I had just had that was there, in the courtroom. And I'm crying and begging him not to take me away from my baby. I just had my baby, please. I've changed my life and all this. And he's like, Miss Perry, I'm sorry, but basically it's too late for you, is what he told me. It's too late.
If the judge could see this and you could speak to that judge now, based on the life you lived while you were in there, but who you are now as a person, like, what would you tell that judge? Like,
it's funny because going through that saved my life. It 100% saved my life. It changed me into the person that I am today. It grew my relationship with God. I'm not glorifying prison in any way, shape, form, or fashion, but prison is what you make of it, and prison is how you use it. And I used the federal prison experience to 100% better my life. And by the grace of God, I got out early, but even if I hadn't, it saved my life, because on the path that I was on, it was either going to end in death, or somebody was going to kill me, or I was going to get myself into a situation with the Mexicans that was not good. Or
yeah, I was going to say, when it comes to you being, mulatto, you're being black and white, what does race play in a woman's prison system? Like, is it just strictly just the blacks deal with the blacks, whites deal with the whites, the Mexicans deal with the Mexicans? And again, where do you fall in that line?
It does. It's not like they fight or anything, but black women do stick with black women, and white women stick with white women, and Mexicans stick with Mexicans. I mean, and the natives they do group together. Like, we would have a black TV room and and then a white TV room or whatever, or the black girls would go in and watch their shows that they wanted to watch, and then we, whatever. And it was mixed too as well sometimes, but people do tend to stick with their own race. I have grown up with white people my whole life, so I normally gravitate towards the white, a lot of black women have never liked me my whole life because I was mixed. I had a lot, especially when I was growing up, so I never had a lot of black women. It's different now, of course, but growing up, a lot of black women didn't like me because of the color of my skin, because of my hair, because of this, because of that. So, but race does play a role in it. So I was kind of I just kind of stuck to myself though. I was in church, I did the church thing, I did the choir thing. I just kind of stuck to myself really. Except until I got to the dog program, and that was amazing.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what all jobs did you do? Like what?
In the feds, I did. I was a nursing assistant, so I took care of all the women on the medical floor. I worked in the radiation department for a little while. When I went to the camp, I worked in commissary. The commissary was a great job. That's the best job in the prison. Because you get paid in the federal system. You do not in TDC, but you do in the federal system.
How much what's the pay?
Minimum is 19 cents an hour, I think. And then the most is $1 something an hour. So
it don't seem like a lot, but
no,
technically
$19 or $17 to $19 a month is what you get, if you're just a grade 1 and you get 19 cents an hour. But that's deodorant and shampoo and coffee to somebody that doesn't have anything, you know what I'm saying? So at least it's something.
You mentioned the TV rooms. In the male penitentiary system, you hear about you're not supposed to touch the TV channel. There's these rules. Do the same rules apply in the female?
They do. In state prison more so than in federal prison. Federal prison, it was pretty laxed but there were women that controlled the TV room, you know what I'm saying? And you would have to go into the TV room and be like, hey, so, you know what I'm saying, so-and-so, do you care if I change this and watch this to, whatever? But they're not going to fight you for it, but they're going to be like, oh yeah, honey, go ahead, yeah, you can watch that. Or no, we're watching this program. So.
For those that don't know, because again, we spoke on this with men, but what is the main difference or the differences from state to feds for women prisons? What is the main differences?
State has no air conditioning. State has parole. So you can, you get a 5-year sentence. You might only do 2 years. They don't have a lot of programs like the feds do. They don't have a lot of classes like the feds do. The feds have college. They have mental health classes. They have movie nights with popcorn, and for the Super Bowl, they give you wings, and you get to watch the Super Bowl on a big screen TV. They do shows for the kids. They do kickball tournaments, volleyball tournaments. They just do more activities, but it's because they give the women so much time. There's first-time women in there that get 30-year sentences that have never been in trouble before. And they pass 30-year sentences out like candy in the feds.
Where did you serve your time in the feds?
FMC Carswell in Fort Worth.
Did you ever serve time with anyone of noteworthy I don't want to say celebrities, but anyone that a name that people may know, maybe related to someone or?
So nobody famous. I served time with a few murderers behind the fence that were on Snapped. And I can't remember the names, but they did episodes of Snapped. They did have this in FMC Carswell is the only federal prison that has maximum security for women. So there were a lot of more famous women back there. There was some terrorists back there that we had threats of them coming to get her. So there are more famous people. There's a lot of child molesters in FMC Carswell because they have a child molesting program there that they supposed to rehabilitate or whatever.
Give me your thoughts on that. We see a lot of let's just say teachers that might have been sleeping with a 15-year-old student, having a relationship for maybe a year, months, or whatever it was, and they end up doing time for it. What are your thoughts on a 26-year-old teacher sleeping with a 15-year-old boy and getting X amount of time?
I don't think they get enough time. I mean, there were girls that got 3-year sentences for selling their young daughter or son to somebody, to some man, or videotaping, their boyfriend going down on their 3-year-old son and they have a 5-year sentence, and I'm sitting in here on a drug charge. Most women are sitting there on drug charges with 20, 30-year sentences. They don't get enough time. I mean, it's terrible. Some of the story, it's disgusting. And you wouldn't think that women, you don't think of women as child molesters. You think of more so of child molesters as men. But there are some women in there that did some pretty gruesome things, and they just got these little old sentences.
How do you know of the crimes they did? Is it something that's just told, or is it paperwork?
No, we know. Okay. Yeah, we know.
We asked this question as far as for you, or to all people that kind of visit the show. What is a sound that still, I don't want to say haunts, but if that's the word that fits, what is a sound in prison that still haunts you to this day, if anything?
A sound, gosh. It's maybe not a sound, but it's noise. So, like in a crowd of people, like a lot of people, because it's always so loud in prison. Like it's always people talking, conversating. There's not a quiet moment. It's always talking and noise. So whenever I go somewhere where there's a lot of a lot of people talking or a lot of noise, it's like it kind of triggers me. It's hard for me to be around because it's just, you never get a quiet moment when you're in prison.
As far as from going to state to feds, can you explain the difference as far as just kind of give us a visual outlay of what the cells look like, with the doors? I mean, just kind of break down as far as from feds to state.
Yeah. So depending upon where you go in state, of course, most prisons, they have rooms that you can go into, and then they have big day rooms. Like I said, there's no air conditioning though in state at all.